Okay guys, so this is a demo about how to draw a tear. That is a request that I got. So again, when you're drawing your mask, it's really important that you work, number one, with your metaphors at the side, but number two, you want to be working from images all of the time. So you see I have imagery right next to me, so have your Chromebook open as you're kind of sketching in your visual journal. And if something's going to be a tear, you gotta remember how to draw an eye, because it's not going to look like a tear unless you have an eye. So obviously you make that almond shape, and then once again you do kind of like a light circle, and then a light circle right there. And you want to leave space for your highlights, obviously, like where you're going to have that light, and really darken the top. Okay, and then go ahead and do light ellipsy lines for your eyelashes. Okay, so it's like a rough eye. Nothing's going to look like a tear unless you have the eye. And then the tear, if it's coming out of the eye, right, you kind of have light curvy lines coming down. I would use an H pencil right here.
You guys got your milk, right?
I think so, yeah. And then you go ahead and drop it, and then do that ellipsy curvy line down at the bottom really lightly. And then a tear is kind of like I don't know, how would we describe it? It's sort of like glass because it's water. So it's gonna have a highlight, and it's gonna have shadows. So you could shade under the tear and then slowly bring it up. So you're using your pencil, shade down, slowly bring it up. 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 So I'm pretending that my light is coming in this way, my light. So if my light's coming in, and water would have a reflection, because it's kind of like this part right here of the tear is sort of like a ball. It's a drop. So you got to treat it sort of like a sphere. And where you don't have, you want to shade around the tear. And by shading around the tear, real lightly, turn your pencil to the side. By shading around the tear, that's going to make the tear come out forward in space. So you want to surround the tear with kind of like a darker value. Or, this artist kind of has the tear just has a darker value, and then still surrounds it with a white value. But regardless, you want kind of like a shadow. And then obviously your coloring is going to make it look more like a tear. So let's see, oil pastels. It's going to be tricky. You're going to really have to sharpen the edge of your pastel, your blue pastel. I would start with a lot of white. So have a lot of white, and really make sure you have a sharp edge of your pastel, because those pastels are fat. And you're just going to go in with the pastel, and you're just going to apply a lot of white on top of the pastel. And get the whitest white you can get. I think this is my lightest white. And the pastel, it'll probably come out in kind of like a cream color. But really do like the side where the light's coming from. And really shade that in. Maybe you want to add a lot while you're there. Maybe go up and add some highlight with your white to the eye, because the eye has highlight too. And I would also generously add highlights around the eye, just to emphasize the dark of the value. But you really got to, here I'm painting with my white pastel, you really got to apply a lot of white at the beginning. Okay, so, and you want that movement kind of around the eye, kind of expressive movement. I'm gonna go ahead, lighten up that shading right there. Expressive movement around the tear. Now, okay, you want to pick your color carefully. Now this person uses kind of like an off, like purple, blue. And you want to have like some kind of purple, blue, one of the lightest purples or blue. And you're slowly going to do a light pressure blend on top of that. Don't worry about making a mistake. And I would add your color on the side where there's no light. So on your shadow side, maybe do a little bit on top of the white, and then kind of have that tear sort of coming out. Maybe you want to add more white in that spot where the tear is emerging, and kind of like go at it like that. Now if your tear is kind of like a blue color, then like a yellowy color, or a yellow, the opposite of blue would be more of an orangey color. So picking up a yellow orange, and you could put that, make like behind the mask that color. So put like yellow, blend some yellow behind the tear, and that's going to have the tear come out farther in space. And really kind of like blend lightly. So you always want to think about the context and the environment. Going back to the eye. In order to draw the eye, I'm still in pastel. You go ahead and you pick up your pencils, and you would just like put in more detail. Tear doesn't need that much detail. You could certainly add with your pencils, cross hatching to the side of the tear, or add more lines to that little ball to make the ball seem round, because it's hard to get your sharp edge with the pastel. The pastel is going to be hard. So you could go back in with your pencil and work in some more expressive lines to make it feel like that tear is kind of like emerging out of the eye, if you want. Maybe add some white lines. It will clarify that boundary. Adding some white lines to the side. Maybe shading, bringing down the value around the side of the tear. And don't be afraid of making mistakes. Okay, and really give yourself like generous shadow. Now again, it's not going to look like a tear unless you have that eye. So again, the pupil is the darkest spot. And then go ahead and give yourself some ellipses. You guys are like, that person needs some eyelashes. Eyelash job. Okay, here we go. The bottom of the eye is always lighter. Lighter, one line weight. This is actually a tear duct. This artist doesn't have it. And then you can actually shade the cornea. Shade it lightly because it is a ball inside of your head, the cornea. Put in a lot of lines going out. Expressive lines, taking risks with lines. Curvy, 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 curvy. Curvy, curvy. And you just keep adding detail. Maybe around this side. Go a little bit lighter with your shading. You could also take your Sharpie and get a really dark line right there. And there you have it. Like, so you gotta like draw the space that the tear lives in order for it to look like a tear. Now, in another demo, I went ahead and I showed Geraldine how to do fire, and anyone else who requested it. Again, it really has to do with like the space that you have surrounding it. So let's say with your oil pastel, you have like kind of like a dark background in your mask. Let's say all of a sudden your mask gets dark at the side. Maybe this is where your nose is. So you're going to have kind of like a dark value. So we're shading with our pastel. Shade, 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 going down darker, right? Because this is the side where the nose lives. We're getting really big and expressive with our pastel. Shade, 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 light. If you have darker blue, if you are blending in some black, and if you have a dark space, and then shade the space around it, leave some area white, then that gives you space for like fire to live. So go yellow. So it's all about, ooh, exactly. It's all about the colors you pick and picking the right colors. If you are drawing fire, repeating from what I said in the previous video, you want to start with, whenever you're drawing anything, you want to start with a generous amount of white pastel, blend that in really, really hard. Do a hard pressure blend with a lot of white. And then you would do that too if this was the edge of the nose. You would put a lot of white. And then you want to come in real light. And you want to go ahead and lightly shade in that yellow. And because I have a lot of blue here and then I have a lot of yellow, this is visual opposition right here. So this is opposites. You could take your pencil, come in, and with a really, with your dark B pencil, you could go ahead and you could put in a hard boundary to show that this is where my nose or this is where my fire is starting. And then if you're drawing fire, then you blend, that is not the color. You grab like an orange pastel and you start to lightly blend the orange into the white and then bring in some of that red and blend some red in. And fire, once again, is all about movement. Now I'm in pencil. There are color pencils available at AJR if you want to pick them up. I'm not in pastel. Oil pastel. Here we go. That's huge. Wow. So you want to go ahead and you want to start to blend that in. I hope that helped, guys, as you're thinking about how to do your mask. Just be very expressive as you move. It looks like there are bricks in the background of this. I'm not sure what happened there. But I hope this helped. This was a good demo with how to draw a tear within the context of the mask. Let me know if you have questions. And then obviously you would do, I can't stop teaching. You would do some dark shading underneath here to show that that's where the eye lives. All right. Good luck, guys.